I'm your host, David Mercer. Welcome back to Tech Dialogues, where we interview and display the expertise of key people within Fluor Canada who are helping to drive the narrative on energy transition. Today I've got Lisa Listgarten with me here, who is an Executive Project Director with Fluor Canada. Welcome, Lisa. It's great to have you here.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
So you've been with Fluor for 27 years. Why don't you tell us a little bit about how your career started with Fluor and what's taken you to where you are today?
Sure. So I got a civil and structural engineering degree from Queen's University, and Fluor hired me right out of school. So I started as a new grad in 1995, and I spent some time in engineering, a number of years, and then I had the opportunity to do a number of different roles, some in quality, in the financial side, in project business services. Also got a chance to work on our SAP implementation, went back to engineering, and then wound my way into project management, and I have been there ever since.
What do you think we are doing as Fluor to differentiate ourselves around the topic of quality?
I think a few things. So, I mean, quality is it's not just a step afterwards. It's not just a check. It's everything that is in what we do as we do it. So everybody is responsible for quality. So one, it's important that the teams understand that they take that seriously, and that, there is always that little triangle, cost, schedule, quality, right?
Absolutely.
And there's always a trade-off. So we also need our teams to understand that we don't compromise quality for schedule, right?
Yes. Any thoughts on how you guys, say today on your current project, are implementing aspects of safety that really put us above and beyond our competition?
Sure. I mean, so the current scope on the project I'm on is engineering procurement, so I'm looking at it through those eyes versus construction, which is a very different safety perspective.
Right.
Or at least if we're doing construction. However, keeping in mind that we need to engineer safely for construction, even if we aren't executing that scope.
Right.
But I think, the first thing is always that safety in design. Is the design inherently safe? So we have an HSE and design engineer, of course, looking at all those aspects. But it's also then engaging with the construction contractor, with operations, with the client, even looking at things like access and ergonomics and all those sort of people movement elements as well, so that we know it's safe to construct, to operate. We're looking at, working with the construction contractor to say, hey, can we lift this vessel safely? Here's what we're thinking about for lugs, et cetera, or however that's going to go. Can we lift it safely?
Can you share with us some of your experience on the value in taking that stage-gated approach to project execution and how that ultimately results in a positive outcome?
Sure. I think you lose the nuance of where are we, how good is the cost, how well is our scope defined, but also are we ready to move to the next stage? Because sometimes we can kid ourselves. When we get to the end of a particular phase, we want to understand, did we do everything we should have? Because it might be otherwise easy to go, oh yeah, I'm ready, I'm going into the next phase. But if you really haven't completed the prior phase, again, you're going to end up in rework, decision changes, cost increases, and schedule increases in the next phase. So that discipline really tells you that, yes, I'm ready to go to the next step.
What are one or two things that you tried to institute, or maybe you learned over the years in dealing with these clients to help us be more nimble or agile in our execution?
I think there's definitely a personality type that is suited to small projects or sustainable projects versus some of the larger mega projects. And some people just find their home in sustaining capital or small project work and love it. And we do have people who have been there for years, and that's their home. And I think that's a great place to be. And if you prefer the larger projects, then we've got people there as well.
For young women that are considering a career in STEM, for example, what advice would you give to them, having spent a very successful career of your own in this space?
My advice is reach out, whether that is to career counselors, friends, colleagues, parents, whoever, get different opinions. There, I think, are a lot of careers out there that people don't even know about or don't exist. You know, they're not the traditional doctor, lawyer, engineer,
Absolutely.
perhaps.
Well, Lisa, let's conclude there. I want to stop by saying thank you very much for spending some time with us today and sharing your personal and your career experiences, which has been very insightful for me. Thank you very, very much. I think it's going to be very informative to our listeners to hear what you had to share with us today. And we look forward to keeping in touch with you.
All right, excellent. My pleasure.
Thanks very much, Lisa.
Thank you.
This concludes Season 1 of Tech Dialogues. If you enjoyed what you heard, you can find all of our episodes on Fluor's YouTube channel. Thanks for joining us.